Fresh hour, CBS Sports HQ is upon us. Russ Thaler, Joe Musso in our Sunday best saying hello to you. It's getaway day around the bigs, but we begin in Muirfield Village, home of the Golden Bear.
Yeah, it's Jack's place. It was Ben's race, but man, is it Scottie's world. The world number one chasing another win at Muirfield Village. Final round of the Memorial on CBS. Scheffler entering Sunday with a one-shot lead after birdieing 4 of his final 5 holes on Saturday. A sense of the moment. Scheffler trying to join Tiger. It's the only players to go back-to-back at the Memorial, your winner a year ago. Showing you why once again. His third shot into the par 5 7th. Snugs it inside 4 feet. Would make the birdie putt. Takes a 2-shot lead, and he was off and running. A couple big par saves on his outward 9. But Scheffler in danger of dropping a shot here at the par 4 10th. His par putt just stays up there on the left. Scheffler snaps a streak of 31 consecutive holes without a bogey. Lead back down to 1. But what does he do better than anyone else in the world? Amongst other things, bounce back. Off the bogey, a bird. 14 feet to the bottom, and Scheffler does it again with a wry smile. Ben Griffin, the yeoman's task of trying to chase down the world number one. Griffin looking for his 3rd win in the last 6 weeks. Few hotter in the world right now, but in trouble trying to keep pace with Scottie. The issue being forced, and 2 putts from there for a bogey at 12. Falls to 3 shots off of Scheffler. Trouble continuing for Griffin at number 13. A long par putt from range, never had a chance. Would make bogey there as well, just like that. Scheffler 4 clear, galloping like Secretariat. Scottie 5 holes away from his 2nd consecutive handshake from Jack. Head to the very next hole. Scheffler with another tough par look from the collar, had to play some break in it. Holes it with pace from 9 feet, maintains that 4-shot advantage. We head to the next, the par 5 15th. Griffin not going quietly here, a look at eagle. 12 feet back down the hill, just scares it at the hole. Is it gonna go? Hold the phone. A 5-shot advantage turns into 3 just like that. Griffin not going away. How about a birdie on top of the eagle? A long one from Griffin from 27 feet at number 16. I told you he's not going quietly. The stunner shade's working again. Griffin pours it in, dead pace, and we got a 2-shot advantage for Scottie. But at the next, the T-ball wayward for Griffin, left and moving left. Never what you want. This one's gonna tag a spectator. Had to sign a glove for it. Griffin makes double there, and now just a formality. Nothing formal about shirtless at Jack's place, but man, a bruise to show for it. Here comes Scottie down the 72nd hole, a scene we've seen before, a scene we will surely see again. Golfing deities looking on, and Jack and Barbara as Scottie cleans it up from 7 feet for par at the last, back-to-back at Jack's. Scottie, your winner once again. 10 under. Plenty enough for that handshake as he wins by 4, becoming just the 2nd player in the storied history of the Memorial to go back-to-back, joining Tiger, who won 3 in a row from 99 to 01. And peerless in many ways, we look only to the great Eldrick Woods for a comparison point for what Scottie Scheffler is doing in the present day. His 9th straight win when holding a solo 54-hole lead. Nobody knows how to finish like Scottie Scheffler. It's his 3rd win in his last 4 starts. No signs of slowing. Scheffler scores again.
You've already had a couple really emotional wins this season, and I have to think this one's pretty meaningful as well. What's it like to be able to shake Jack Nicklaus's hand and back-to-back years as this tournament's champion?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's always a hard week this week. I mean, it's so challenging to play this tournament. And, I battled really hard over the weekend, and Ben made things interesting there down the stretch. And yeah, overall it was a great week, and definitely proud to be shaking Mr. Nicklaus's hand at the end of another good week.
Watching you and Meredith and Bennett, it makes me think we've been talking about Barbara Nicklaus all week this week and how she made so much of Jack's career possible with her support. Talk about what this balance looks like and the support Meredith provides that allows you to be the best father, husband you can be while also being the #1 player in the world.
Yeah, you're really trying to make me emotional now. No, I mean, my wife is my biggest supporter. She's my best friend, and this is our life out here on the road, and it's been a lot of fun, and we've had some special memories of this tournament, and yeah, definitely couldn't do it without her.
It's amazing to think how much this one has grown since 1 year ago. And lastly, this is one of the most difficult golf courses you're going to face all season long. How does this prepare you as you get ready for the third major of the year?
Yeah, this is a golf course that's definitely going to expose your weaknesses, and I got a few things that I can practice next week. But overall, it was a really solid week. Did some really good battling today. Teddy and I did a really good job of kind of working our way around the course and not getting ahead of ourselves, and put up another really good round on this very difficult golf course.
Another impressive win, Scottie Scheffler. Congratulations.
You could not handpick a better man and a better family to currently occupy the top of this sport. Scheffler on a torrid pace here. Not long ago we're saying slow start to the season for Scottie. No wins to his name. Well, last 4 starts, only 3 men have beat him, and it's 3 wins now to his name. The combined margin of victory across those 3 wins, 17 strokes. For more, it's always a privilege to take you inside the Super Tower. We say hello to 2008 Masters champion Trevor Immelman. Trev, as the wins begin to compound, we're trying to find new ways to measure the greatness. Head and shoulder above his peers, historic pace. What do you measure this latest win against?
Well, it's just incredible golf. That consistency and the greatness just is tremendous. It's Tiger-like. It's dangerous to compare anybody to Tiger Woods because he was so great. But the way Scheffler has played in the last 3.5 years is just remarkable. This now his 16th PGA Tour win in that period. You can add on 2 Hero World Challenges and the Olympic gold to that. It's just remarkable. The way he goes ahead and closes out these events and doesn't just win by 1, wins by multiple shots. It's just so impressive. So solid, so sound mentally and physically. It's a joy to watch. It really is.
I'm glad you bring up that duration because that's where I want to go next. This last 3 years plus, Scottie, 9 in a row when holding a solo 54-hole lead. When the blood is in the water, there's nobody better. When you look at his relationship to pressure and the way that's evolved over the last 3 years, what does that look like to you?
Well, just how smart he plays when it matters most. That to me is the thing that I really do have a ton of respect for. And for us to be able to have Jack up in the booth with us this weekend, who I thought of in the same fashion, a guy just who wouldn't beat himself. He would go out there and play really consistent, solid golf and then say to everybody else, okay, let's see what you got. And Scheffler comes out to a very, very difficult golf course here over the weekend and just makes 1 bogey. And there's nobody that can hang around with him because he has the firepower, he has the demeanor, he has the mental toughness, and he's got all of that confidence. I mean, you talk about how he's closed. Last 9 straight with a 54-hole lead, he's gone ahead and done that. That's why I said at the top of our show today, if he goes ahead and wins today, which he did, we can start giving him a nickname, the closer. I mean, this guy just does not cough up a lead when he gets in charge.
I'll co-sign the closer. It is spectacular stuff to watch this man with the lead and the strategy that he employs. I do want to take you back to Saturday because I'm sitting there watching you do your thing and nobody does it better. And you're sitting next to the greatest champion of all time, watching the greatest of our time currently. And to hear Jack talk about Scottie relative to himself has to offer a different perspective than anything. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, that's a brilliant point, Moose. Just to hear the respect with which Jack speaks of Scottie is tremendous. And by the way, it's not just from a golfing standpoint. It's not just from a winning standpoint. But it's the man that Scheffler is, the husband he is, the father he is, the son he is, that family unit that they have, and I'll pull in his coach, Randy Smith, and Ted Scott, his caddy. It's such a tight-knit group that it feels impenetrable. And to hear the greatest of all time, okay, we got Jack and Tiger at the top. We could have another discussion about that. But to hear Jack talk about Scottie with that kind of reverence and respect, it gives me goosebumps. I mean, it's really cool to have a guy in this generation try to match what those guys were able to achieve on the golf course in Tiger and Jack.
Family at the forefront to start the week with Barbara, and family once again at the center of our conversation where it ends. Trevor Immelman, appreciative always.
Thank you.
Post Round is presented by the TP5 and TP5X golf balls from TaylorMade. CBS Golf analysts Rick Gehman and Patrick McDonald join us with more, guys. Greatness has a way of suffocating its competition. Scottie scrambles his way to a 70 here, a multi-shot victory once again. Rick, what's the defining feature of this latest win?
Oh, there's so many things, Joe. I'm going to go with the one bogey over his last 40 holes, because this is a golf course that beat up a lot of world-class players this week, and he basically just held his own. He never made two mistakes in a row. It wasn't always pouring in a bunch of birdies. It was just the fact that he was able to make par when the vast majority of his peers were not. And it's really that simple. And then to bank a couple of really good opportunities late in both of the rounds on the weekend, it was just a vintage Scottie Scheffler performance. And a lot of the work for this victory, I feel like, goes back to the end of round 3 when he had that multiple shot swing after parring his first 13 holes. And it just felt like a lot of this Sunday was going to be how many shots is this victory? Is it going to be 3? Is it going to be 4? Is it going to be 5? And that's just the way it feels out there. And I think a lot of the guys that are playing against Scottie Scheffler feel the same way right now.
For me, it was really the completeness of it all, Rick. You think about each round, they were all pretty different. The first round, the ball striking was not good, could not find the fairway often, still got in 70, beating the field average by 4 strokes. You saw there on Friday, the ball striking really came alive, but he struggled from that 10 to 15-foot range. He finally put it all together, those final 5 holes, and really put one hand on the trophy late on Saturday. And then today, he missed his first 4 greens in regulation and got up and down all 4 times. He missed a short putt there on number 5 also, and then the ball striking came alive there in the middle portion of the back 9, and he kind of just stepped on Ben Griffin's throat. And so I felt like in 2024, the question with Scheffler was if he putts, he wins. And I think now in 2025, it's if he shows up healthy, is he going to win?
It's spectacular stuff once again, and the bar has been set so high. Rick, you said something there that I want to pick at a little here, because if you're Ben Griffin and we're looking at this through his lens, you know you're playing the best golf of your life right now, and you watch your playing partner essentially occupy a different stratosphere for 5 hours. How disheartening has this to be, just to see that chasm in plain terms the way Ben Griffin did here on Sunday?
Yeah, so I was running the numbers earlier, Joe. Ben Griffin, we were talking, I mean, just playing the best golf of his life, playing some of the best golf of anybody in 2025. He was gaining about a stroke and a half per round since April 1st over the last 2 months. Scotty's been twice as good as that, 3 strokes per round. So it really is a different stratosphere. I'm glad that's the way that you described it. I think if you're Ben Griffin, when you zoom out on this and look at the last couple of months and look at the way that your season started, you should be thrilled that you were able to beat 70 other of the top players in the world who were all here at this event. Unfortunately, Scottie Scheffler exists in this universe, but there's a lot of FedexCup points, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of Ryder Cup implications for a solo second at a signature event. So yes, it is going to be a tough pill to swallow for Ben Griffin, probably on Sunday night. But I think when he wakes up Monday morning, and definitely on Wednesday when the direct deposit comes through, I think he's going to be just fine.
He has to be thrilled, I think. You think about his final 19 holes. He had 3 putts from inside 4 feet that he missed low and left, all right to lefters there. And he still hung tough with Scheffler really up until number 12 it was, after he missed that short one on number 11. And even despite that little lull in the middle portion of his back 9, he was only 2 behind with 2 holes to play. He's still in the ball game, especially with that finishing stretch there on numbers 17 and 18 at Muirfield Village. Unfortunately, it got Griffin and not Scheffler for Griffin's case. But if I'm Ben Griffin, I am absolutely stoked by this performance. You can phrase it as, hey, I didn't really have my best stuff in terms of ball striking. He was a little wild off the tee. The approach play wasn't perfect. He still scratched and clawed his way to that second place performance, and he surely made Scottie Scheffler think about his presence.
Yeah, they pay pretty good for a solo second at a full field signature these days. Ben Griffin sits there alone, but it's Scottie sitting alone at the top, winner in 3 of his last 4 starts here, guys, after we sort of examined over the first few months of the season what was missing. Now we look at it from what has he added. And Patrick, I can only look to who he is in closing time, maybe a muscle that's developing and furthering his distance from all these fields he plays in. On Saturday and on Sunday, I don't know how you measure blood in the water factor, but what are you seeing in those moments?
Man, it feels like every Saturday evening around 5 p.m., 6 p.m., you can set your watch to it. Scottie Scheffler is going to go on a run. Think about the Byron Nelson. Think about the PGA Championship when he pretty much put one hand on the Wanamaker Trophy by playing the Green Mile in the fashion that he did. And then think about yesterday going with 4 threes and a 4, playing his final 5 holes in 4 under. His ability to sense the moment, Joe, and then rise up and meet it is bar none in this arrow to me. It is just so unbelievably impressive. He realizes, hey, he's kind of been coasting through this tournament. Now's the time to put the foot on the accelerator. And I think even making it more impressive is it seems to come during the most difficult stretch on the golf course, the Green Mile, the finishing stretch here, and that just really shows what Scheffler can do when he's firing on all cylinders and really engaged.
I'm glad Patrick mentioned the way that Scottie Scheffler finishes rounds, because Patrick mentioned this to me a couple of weeks ago, and I've noticed it constantly since, is that Scottie Scheffler never finishes a round with a bogey, never on a bad note. He almost always makes a good par or makes a birdie or makes 2 birdies in his last 3 holes, something to just grab 1 or 2 strokes back every single day, and it really adds up. The other thing that I've noticed a lot recently, Joe, we just saw it over the last 5 or 6 holes, his distance control is back to being just sublime. I mean, those last couple of approach shots he hit in the final round, they were absolutely perfect. They were 30, 35 feet out to the right, exactly pin high, never bringing any trouble into play. That is what we saw a lot of last year, that I think combined with some left misses off the tee, he didn't have as strong of control with to start 2025, but that is back. It is impressive, and it really, I believe, allows him to play away from so much trouble and leads to everything else in his game.
3 wins this season, the combined margin of victory 17. Not just winning, running away once again, Scottie Scheffler here at the Memorial. Gentlemen, thank you for your thoughts. As always, we got plenty more coming here on HQ Post Round as we take a look at some statistical anomalies. That is, it's the world of Scottie Scheffler. Shortest time between your first win and your 16th. It's only 3.5 years ago, that first win coming at the Waste Management in 2022. Scottie, it's taken him 3 years and 108 days to get to 16, and I dare say counting.
The man is a machine. Scottie Scheffler, the repeat champion at Jack's event.
And the machine is firing on all cylinders. Rick Gehman, Patrick McDonald back to button up this week at the Memorial. And as we've sat here, fellas, we've had a little bit of time to sift through the numbers. Scottie leading the PGA Tour this season in top 10s, strokes gained, bogey avoidance, scoring average. He's got a T25 and a T20. Everything else, Rick, is T9 or better. What's your favorite way to statistically frame what we're watching right now?
I could do a 3-hour show on Scottie's stats alone. I'll just rattle off a couple of them here, Joe. You know, he entering this week, he had 61 top 10 finishes since 2022. That was 20 more than the next closest guy, which was Xander Schauffele. Since 2022, he's won, as you mentioned, 16 times. That's Jordan Spieth's career, essentially. The one that gets me is this year that he's having right now, the 2025 year. Despite not having as many wins yet as his 2024 campaign, he is actually better this year in terms of total strokes gained. It's going to be, I'll have to get the final number going, but it'll be over 2.5 strokes per round. I think that, and Trevor mentioned this earlier, it's like really difficult to compare guys to Tiger Woods, but this is by far the closest thing we've seen since Tiger. And actually, in small spurts, it is Tiger. It's just the fact that Tiger did this for 15 years and Scottie's now on 3 years. So I don't want the longevity to take away from what Scottie's doing right now, because it is very much Tiger-esque.
I look at where he's won and how often he's won at those places, right, Joe? 2 times at Augusta National, 2 times at TPC Sawgrass, 2 times at Bay Hill, 2 times at Muirfield Village. You can throw in the Hero World Challenge if you really want to. I won't for the sake of this conversation. 2 times at TPC Scottsdale as well. Whenever Scheffler figures out a place, it is as good as his. You throw in 2 more times in his home state of Texas, once at the alma mater in Austin, and then again in his backyard at the CJ Cup Byron Nelson, and then a couple more signature events with the RBC Heritage in the Travelers Championship as well. It just seems when the stakes are at their highest, Scottie Scheffler's game is also at its highest too.
Stakes at the highest and the setups most difficult. It's usually where he finds that great advantage, which does point us towards where we're heading next. Obviously a stop in Canada between, but when you project what we saw at Jack's Place this week and what we're going to see at the U.S. Open, Patrick, how much can translate from one to another for not just Scottie, but the entirety of this field?
I look back to last year, and the difference between Muirfield Village and Pinehurst number 2 was stark. The difference between Muirfield Village and Oakmont is not all that different, in my opinion. It's going to be put the ball in the fairway, hit it long and straight off the tee, and lean on the long irons and the mid-iron play, and get up and down from thick rough from around those greens. Scottie Scheffler got very frustrated with how many variables were introduced at Pinehurst number 2 after a grueling week, winning his first Memorial title. I don't think those variables are necessarily going to be present at Oakmont, and that certainly leads into Scottie Scheffler's favors. It leads into his hands, and I think he has a great chance to add that third leg of the career Grand Slam.
Oakmont is very much a test of execution, and Scottie executes better than anybody. He also outthinks everybody else, but he's not going to need that as much at Oakmont. I'm glad Patrick mentioned, the ability to get up and down or to scramble from thick rough, and that's what I think about. That's what I think about when you get a really difficult golf course where, again, par is going to be a great score on the vast majority of the holes at Oakmont, if not every single one of them. And maybe the winning score is even par. Who knows? We're a couple weeks out, we'll figure it out. But that plays right into Scottie Scheffler's hands. If he just goes out and shoots 472s and wins the golf tournament, like, I would not be surprised one single bit. The ability for him to stay cool, calm, and collected when he does make a mistake, to not compound it with another mistake, when he does put a square on the card, to get it back very quickly. There's just so many ways that Scottie's going to be able to separate himself at Oakmont. He will be the significant favorite, and it'll be well-deserved.
Hey, if Bennett's going to be there, Scottie's got a good chance. He's on a heater right now. Scheffler's numbers in this fatherhood era only amplified. It's a pleasure to watch him do it the way that he does, and once again a winner here at Jack's Place. It's time now for your FedEx Cup update presented by FedEx, where now meets next. And this is also an update in format, as we will not have starting strokes at the Tour Championship in Eastlake. Scottie Scheffler, currently number 1 on your board. Not to be promised that position at year's end, but he carries this sort of pace and will certainly find himself right there. All right, back with the guys, and let's sort of have that conversation in an abridged way, if you will, and through the eyes of Scottie Scheffler. We no longer have starting strokes in Atlanta. We have a player who's once again deserving to be atop this board and likely will be there at the end of this season. How does Scheffler process this, knowing that he's not going to have that starting place advantage that he has in years past, Rick?
I'd be furious, especially to find out in the middle of the year. Now, Scottie won't. He doesn't care. He's going to get to Eastlake, and it's going to be a 30-person field with a guaranteed of 4 rounds, and he's probably going to be in the mix, and he's probably going to win that. So he's not going to care one single bit. But I do wonder, Joe, what the potential ramifications of this will be. If there is not an inherent built-in additional value into finishing first in the FedEx Cup standings, will we see guys take a playoff event off? I don't know. I mean, this is a very packed schedule, especially with the way the last handful of years the PGA Championship has been moved up. These guys play a lot of golf. Scottie plays a lot of golf because he plays the events in Texas as well. I'm interested to see if this creates a situation where guys will take either Memphis or the BMW Championship off just to make sure they're fresh going into the Tour Championship.
I'll answer that question, Rick. They're definitely going to. Rory McIlroy said before them changing the Tour Championship that he was going to skip Memphis this year, just because with how it shook out last year, he didn't really drop that much in the standings. And then you add in just how brutal this playoff stretch is going to be. It's going to be 100 degrees in Memphis. It's going to be 100 degrees in Baltimore. They've likened Caves Valley, that course, walking it similar to Augusta National, similar to Kapalua. It is so undulated, so up and down. It takes such a physical toll, where I could see not only Scheffler, not only Rory, but a lot of those guys inside the top 10 potentially skip the BMW Championship to get rested up for that big money Tour Championship.
All right, change whatever rule you want. The rule remains. It is Scottie Scheffler's world, and we are just living in it. Fellas, thank you as always.